sound involving two cars, but if the motorists are still trapped in those vehicles, emergency services are on the scene. I'll bring you further details in the next report. Traffic line in the meantime is 083.
I think if you look around, this is a community where their homes and their schools are over the other side. A high-speed road. Cars not stopping, not slowing down. Nothing to tell them and to stop them. And these kids, if you look at them, they are going to cross this heavy junction looking from right, left, behind with nothing to help them. And they do this every morning. Somewhere around the world at this moment, sadly, there is a child hurt or killed. Just because they're going to school. For God's sake, we have to stop this.
In recent years, Michelle Yeoh has emerged as one of the most highly regarded film actresses in the world. Her international recognition has come from films like Memoirs of a Geisha, the multi-award-winning Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies.
I'm better known for my action roles, my motorcycle stunts, speeding car chases, and it is a very dramatic, sudden turnaround to accept to be the road safety global ambassador. Coming from someone who did not understand, did not know, and learning the process as I'm going along, devastated to understand there are more than 11 million lives lost since the year 2000, and the numbers dramatically climbing. I embarked on this journey simply because I believe there are many voices that need to be heard. Arriving in Cape Town, I saw immediately the astonishing growth in roads and increase in traffic that's occurred here in a very short space of time. This massive increase in motorization is happening not just here, but across Africa as a whole, and it's creating one of the most dangerous road networks in the world. I visited a township on the edge of Cape Town. The terrible poverty is undeniable. The sprawling shanty towns and poorer housing stretching as far as the eye can see. I got a chance to listen to the concerns of some of the people living there, the problems they face, problems that should be so simple to solve. Without proper pavements, people are forced to walk on the verge or amongst the traffic. A carelessly placed main road has divided their homes from the schools and everyday facilities. Such basic planning errors can have terrible consequences.
Because the government, when they designing this area, they don't design the area for pedestrians, they only design the area for roads, for cars. And that is why we need the pavements here for the children to walk on, so they don't have to walk in the streets anymore.
Right.
You see, because when this is not being done, when the local government don't listen to us, the children and the people they're gonna pay the price.
Yet as a society, we too often accept the state of affairs simply because we think there is no other option. But there are solutions. From the early days of motoring, we have learned a great deal about safety. But we learned it the hard way. What happened over several decades was a slow, painful process of understanding and improving road safety. Cars, road design, and traffic laws were changed and improved. Thousands of miles away in India, the motorized revolution continues. Alongside an ancient and traditional culture, this new world will have profound effects for future generations. I have come here because this is the front line in the war on road accidents. This is the road accident capital of the world. India has the highest death rate of all countries.
We have built 12,000 kilometers of new highways at a cost of $12 billion. And it is the same amount we are losing every year because of road accidents. It is calculated that the same amount yearly is lost as a social cost on road accidents.
It's just so important for the new developing nations to learn from the mistakes of the developed world.
We know a lot more about how to manage this problem now. We can make our road environments more protective. Our vehicles are more protective. I think we need to set very ambitious goals to address this issue. We shouldn't be timid. We should be looking at what could we really achieve if we mobilised the resources in the right way and targeted them the right way. I think setting a 50% reduction target by 2020, let's set ourselves some very dramatic goals to try and achieve and go and see if we can do it.
Stand in the middle of this ancient city and you very quickly get a sense of the motorized revolution that's going on around you. With the massive growth in the country's economy, there has been an astonishing rise in the number of people owning and riding motorcycles. It's risen from under 500,000 to over 20 million in a very short time, causing a disastrous rise in road casualties.
I find that very discouraging in terms of the West and the larger governments and organizations. They don't realize that this is a very, very critical social problem. It is a killer. It's on a magnitude of tuberculosis and malaria, and in a few years it's going to be on a magnitude of AIDS.
But Vietnam is now adopting some very positive measures to deal with this crisis, and their experience could be incredibly useful to other countries. A major part of their efforts center around the use of safety helmets for motorcyclists. New legislation has seen a dramatic increase in the numbers of adults wearing helmets in the big cities. But safety activists are keen to see this extended to the countryside and also crucially for children to be included. I met a family who symbolized the horrendous consequences that can come from not wearing helmets. Like all accidents, it happened in an instant. Han, a beautiful 8-year-old, and her sister were taken by their parents to a family celebration. Although they normally always wore helmets, for this one brief moment they didn't. And a dangerous driver crashed into them, fatally injuring little Han. When you hear Han's mother describe her daughter, you hear what a wonderful child she was, and the overwhelming grief her unnecessary death has brought. It was time to leave Vietnam and travel to New York. But I was determined that I would get the details of Han's brief life relayed to a major meeting of the General Assembly of the United Nations. The UN meeting in New York was making the historic decision to approve a first ever global meeting of ministers on road safety. The debate was a success. Lord Robertson delivered the petition with 1 million signatures calling for road safety to United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and I handed him a child's helmet from Vietnam, a symbol of what is possible.
The adoption of this resolution will serve to further solidify.
Yet I was shocked by how few countries bothered to attend the debate. The historic hall was half empty, and the lack of interest shouting from the rows of empty seats really seemed to reflect the indifference and low priority given to road safety that I had sometimes encountered on my journey. Where are these leaders of all the different nations that should be just as passionate as we are because they need to protect their people? Has it fallen through the cracks? Are other issues more important that we have forgotten about a very basic human right? So,
It was a great experience, but I'm no longer happy with just listening to them talk. We need to get out there. We need to, when November comes, the decade of action for road safety will be in place. If not, in the next 10 years, we are going to lose more lives. And we can't allow that to happen. We must act.